Sometimes life gets busy and watering your plants feels like a chore you didn't sign up for, right? If you've ever looked at a wilted leaf and thought, man, I swear I watered you last week, this video's gonna make your life a whole lot easier. Today we're talking about plants that practically babysit themselves and still look good doing it. These guys can handle long gaps between waterings without turning into crispy decorations. Whether you work long hours, travel a lot, or just forget, no judgment here, these plants get it. And honestly, it's pretty cool how some of them evolved to store water like little tanks. Stick around, because by the end you'll know exactly which plants can thrive even if your watering schedule is all over the place. Let's jump in and make your home greener without stressing about a watering can. Money tree is one of those plants that just fits perfectly into a busy lifestyle because it stores moisture in its thick, braided trunk and can comfortably go 10 to 14 days without a drink, which is a lifesaver if you forget the watering can more often than you'd like to admit. It handles low to medium light without a fuss, and as long as you let the soil dry out between waterings, it stays healthy and glossy without demanding constant attention. What surprises most people is how resilient it is, bouncing back even if you accidentally skip a week or two, thanks to its natural drought-tolerant structure. And the fun part is, beyond being low maintenance, it's also considered a good luck plant in many cultures, so you're basically getting an easy plant and a positive vibes charm in one. Ginseng Ficus is one of those plants that quietly thrives even when you're not paying much attention, thanks to its thick, bulbous roots that store water like little reservoirs, letting it go a good 10 to 20 days without needing a refill. It does great in bright indirect light but can handle medium light too, and as long as you give it well-draining soil and avoid overwatering, it stays strong with very little effort on your part. Most people don't realize how tough this plant actually is, adapting like a champ to inconsistent routines and bouncing back fast if you forget it for a while. Plus, its bonsai-style shape gives your space a cool, artistic vibe without the high-maintenance commitment real bonsai usually need. Air plant is basically the definition of low maintenance because it doesn't even need soil, and it absorbs moisture straight from the air, which means forgetting to water it isn't the end of the world at all. These little guys can go 7 to 14 days without a soak, and as long as you give them bright indirect light and good airflow, they stay healthy with almost zero effort. Most people are shocked at how tough they are, especially since they're native to dry, rocky environments where water is rare, so they've evolved to store just enough moisture to ride out long gaps. And the best part is how unique they look sitting on shelves, tucked into driftwood, or hanging in glass globes, instantly adding style without bringing any daily care stress. Aloe is one of those plants that practically thrives on neglect because its thick, fleshy leaves are built to store a huge amount of water, letting it go 2 to 3 weeks without a single sip and still look perfectly fine. It prefers bright light and well-draining, sandy soil, but once it's settled, it barely asks for anything except to stay dry most of the time. What makes it such a strong pick for forgetful waterers is its natural desert evolution, giving it the ability to handle long droughts like it's no big deal. And the bonus is hard to ignore, that soothing gel inside the leaves has been used for centuries for burns and skin care, so you're basically getting a low-maintenance plant with built-in practical benefits. ZZ plant is basically the king of surviving neglect, thanks to its thick rhizomes under the soil that store water like a built-in backup tank, allowing it to go 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes even a full month, without you touching a watering can. It handles low light better than almost any other houseplant, but it'll grow faster in medium light, and as long as the soil drains well, it stays glossy and firm even with a very inconsistent routine. What makes it so perfect for forgetful plant owners is its extreme drought tolerance, a trait it developed in its native East African habitats where rain is unpredictable. And honestly, the shiny, dark green leaves make it look like a high-effort plant even though it's one of the easiest ones you'll ever own. Jewel leaf plant is surprisingly forgiving for something that looks so delicate, because its thick, velvety leaves hold onto moisture well enough to let it go 10 to 14 days without watering, which is perfect if you tend to forget your plants now and then. It does best in medium to bright indirect light and likes a loose, airy soil mix that dries out between waterings, making it far easier to manage than people expect. What really helps is that it naturally comes from humid forest floors where water isn't always consistent, so it's adapted to short dry spells without stressing out. And the coolest part is the way its leaves shimmer with metallic patterns when light hits them, giving your space a rare, almost exotic vibe with barely any maintenance required. Haworthia is one of those plants that practically refuses to die on you because its thick, chunky leaves store plenty of water, letting it go a solid 2 to 3 weeks without needing anything from you at all. It's super happy in bright indirect light but can handle lower light better than most succulents, and as long as the soil drains quickly, it stays compact and healthy with very minimal effort. Its drought tolerance comes from surviving harsh, dry environments in South Africa, so skipping a few waterings barely even registers for this little survivor. And honestly, its patterned leaves look so clean and sculptural that people assume it's a high-maintenance plant, when in reality it's one of the easiest, most forgiving options for anyone who forgets their watering schedule. Philodendron is one of those plants that just rolls with whatever schedule you give it, because its thick stems and big, leathery leaves hold onto moisture long enough to go 10 to 14 days without a problem. It does great in medium to bright indirect light, and as long as the soil drains well and you let it dry a bit between waterings, it stays lush without needing constant attention. This plant naturally comes from tropical areas where rain can be unpredictable, so it's adapted to short dry spells and bounces back fast even if you miss a watering or two. And the best part is how those dramatic, deeply lobed leaves instantly give your space a bold, tropical vibe, making it look like you put in way more effort than you actually did. Areca palms are surprisingly easygoing for such tall, elegant plants, because their cane-like stems store a decent amount of moisture, letting them handle 10 to 12 days without watering as long as the room isn't overly dry. They thrive in bright, filtered light but can adjust to medium light too, and with a loose, well-draining potting mix, they stay healthy without needing constant care. These palms naturally grow in areas where rainfall comes in bursts, so they've adapted to short drought periods and don't panic if you forget them for a bit. And what really makes them a favorite is the way their feathery fronds instantly soften a room, giving your space the breezy, resort-like feel without demanding a tight watering schedule. Parlor Palm is one of those classic low-effort plants that stays chill even if you forget to water it, thanks to its slow growth and naturally low water needs, letting it go 10 to 14 days without any issues. It's perfectly happy in low to medium light, which already makes life easier, and as long as the soil drains well and you let the top layer dry before watering again, it pretty much takes care of itself. This plant comes from shaded forest floors where moisture is inconsistent, so it's built to handle pauses between waterings without stressing out. And the best part is how its soft, arching fronds give your room a cozy, vintage vibe, like something straight out of an old Hollywood apartment, while you barely have to lift a finger to keep it alive. Fiddle Leaf Fig might look dramatic with those huge, glossy leaves, but it's actually pretty forgiving when it comes to watering, because its thick trunk and sturdy leaf structure let it hold onto moisture long enough to handle 7 to 10 days without a problem. It loves bright, indirect light and does best in a well-draining soil mix that dries out between waterings, which actually makes it easier for forgetful plant owners than its reputation suggests. Even in its native West African environment, rain can be inconsistent, so it's naturally adapted to short dry spells and can bounce back quickly if you miss a watering or two. And of course, the standout feature is its bold, sculptural look that instantly upgrades any room, making it look like you put serious effort into plant care, even when you definitely didn't. String of Pearls is practically built for forgetful plant owners because each little bead is a tiny water reservoir, letting the plant go a solid 2 to 3 weeks without a drink and stay plump the whole time. It loves bright, indirect light and does best in a gritty, fast-draining soil mix that mimics the dry environments it comes from, so the less you water it, the happier it actually is. This plant evolved in arid regions where rain is rare, which is why it can handle long dry spells without stressing or dropping strands. And the coolest part is how those trailing pearls spill over pots and shelves, giving your space a unique, eye-catching look while barely needing any attention from you at all. Rubber plant is one of the easiest big houseplants to own if you forget to water, because its thick, glossy leaves and sturdy stems store plenty of moisture, letting it go 10 to 14 days, sometimes even longer, without showing stress. It thrives in bright indirect light but can handle medium light too, and with a well-draining soil mix that dries out between waterings, it practically maintains itself. In the wild, it grows in environments where rainfall comes in bursts rather than steady cycles, so it's naturally adapted to short droughts and bounces back quickly if you miss a watering or two. And the best part is how its tall, upright shape and bold leaves instantly make any room look cleaner and more modern, giving you that I take care of my plants vibe even when you definitely forget sometimes. Alright, that wraps up our list of the best plants for people who forget to water, and honestly, it's pretty cool how many of these guys can thrive with almost no effort. If you've been struggling to keep plants alive, now you've got options that actually fit your lifestyle instead of stressing you out. Pick a few of these and let them do their thing. You'll be surprised how much greener your place can look with so little work. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a comment about which plant you're getting next. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.